right here. Everybody wants success, but not everybody's willing to claim it. If not you, then who's going to step up? If not now, then when are you going to make it happen? Life don't wait. Opportunities don't wait. Champions don't wait. You got to be the one to move, to grind, to push, and to prove. Because at the end of the day, nobody's going to hand it to you. You got to take it. Responsibility starts with you, not someone else. Here, too many people in this world are waiting for someone to come along and change their situation, waiting for the right person, the right opportunity, the right moment, the right kind of luck to knock on their door. Right here, they sit around hoping that life will somehow hand them what they've been dreaming about. That someone else will pave the way. Someone else will hold their hand. Someone else will fix the problems for them. But the truth is, right here, nobody is coming to save you. Nobody's going to live your life for you. Nobody's going to put in the hours, the sweat, the grind, the sacrifice except you. If you want it, right here, you've got to step up and claim responsibility for your life, because the moment you keep handing it off to someone else, you've already given away your power. Think about it. Every champion, every leader, right here, every person who built something great started with a decision, not an excuse. They didn't look around blaming their parents, blaming their boss, blaming the economy, blaming their environment. They said, here, it's on me. And that's the difference between those who rise and those who remain stuck. The ones who rise know that responsibility is the foundation. You can't control the weather. You can't control the market. Right here, you can't control what people say about you, but you can always control how you respond, what effort you put in right here, and how much ownership you're willing to take when you stop saying, it's not my fault, and start saying, it's my responsibility. That's when your life changes, because responsibility isn't about fault. Right here, responsibility is about ownership. You might not have chosen the challenges you're facing. You might not have created the obstacles that stand in your way right here, but it is still your responsibility to figure out how to move through them. Complaining doesn't move you forward. Responsibility does. It forces you to stop waiting, stop pointing fingers right here, and start taking action. When you take action, you gain momentum, and with momentum comes results, and with results comes confidence, and that confidence makes you unstoppable. You see, people love the idea of greatness here, but most of them hate the weight of responsibility. They want the rewards, but not the work. They want the spotlight, but not the grind in the dark. But life doesn't work like that. The spotlight only comes when you've proven that right here, in the unseen hours, that you were willing to carry your own load. You've got to take responsibility for your health, because no one else can eat for you. No one else can train for you. Right here, you've got to take responsibility for your mindset, because no one else can think for you. No one else can choose your perspective. You've got to take responsibility for your future, because no one else can live your dreams. Right here, it's all on you. And the sooner you accept that, the sooner you start moving toward the life you say you want. And here's the hard truth. The people who don't take responsibility end up bitter, blaming, and broken. They talk about what could have been, should have been, might have been, if only someone else had done their part. But the people who do take responsibility, they may stumble, they may fall, they may face failure here, but they keep going, and in the end they win. They win because they refuse to let anyone else dictate their story. They refuse to give up the pen. They take responsibility for writing every chapter, even the messy one, right here, even the painful one. Because of that, they own the outcome. Responsibility is the first step to freedom, because as long as you blame someone else, you're trapped. The moment you say, this is mine to fix, right here, mine to build, mine to conquer, you break free. Imagine waking up every morning knowing that no matter what happens, you're not a victim, you're not powerless, you're not at the mercy of other people. Right here, that mindset changes everything. Instead of waiting, you start creating. Instead of hoping, you start building. Instead of wishing, you start working. And people notice that. They see the difference. Right here, responsibility makes you reliable. It makes you trustworthy. It makes you a leader. When others are folding under pressure, you're the one stepping up saying, I've got this. And that's how opportunities come. Right here. That's how doors open. That's how respect is earned. Not because you asked for it, not because you begged for it here, but because you took responsibility and proved you could carry the weight. It doesn't matter where you started. Some people had everything handed to them. Some people had nothing. Some people grew up with support. Some people grew up with struggle, but responsibility levels the playing field, because at the end of the day, your life is built on what you do with what you have. You can waste time comparing yourself to others, saying they had it easier, or you can use every ounce of energy to build from where you are. And when you do that, you stop needing excuses. You stop caring about who's ahead of you right here, because you realize you're running your own race. Responsibility makes you understand that your competition isn't the person next to you. It's the weaker version of you that wants to that wants to blame, right here, that wants to wait. And when you beat that version every day, you start becoming unstoppable. Think about athletes, entrepreneurs, soldiers, leaders. What separates them from the crowd? It's not talent alone here. It's not luck alone. It's responsibility. They own their failures as much as their successes. They take the hits. They take the criticism. They take the setbacks. And instead of running from it, they own it. Here, they learn from it, and they use it as fuel. That's what champions do. They don't point fingers. They point to themselves and say, I've got to do better. I've got to work harder. Right here, I've got to make the change. And because they take responsibility, they keep growing. Right here, responsibility isn't just about taking the blame when something goes wrong. It's about stepping forward when something needs to be done, when something needs to be built, when something needs to be led now. Right here, the reason most people avoid responsibility is because it's heavy. It feels like a burden. But here's the twist: that burden is the very thing that makes you strong. Just like lifting heavy weights builds your muscles, here, carrying responsibility builds your character. Every time you take on what others avoid, you grow. Every time you say, I'll take care of it, when everyone else is making excuses, you build resilience right here. And resilience is the one thing you need in this world, because life will test you, life will push you, life will throw storms your way. And the only way to stand tall is if you've trained yourself to handle the weight. Right here, responsibility is that train. It doesn't break you, it builds you. And here's what most people don't realize: responsibility is not just about you. It's also about the people who look up to you, depend on you, by you. When you take responsibility, you show others that it's possible. You set an example. You raise the standard. You create a ripple effect, because responsibility is contagious. When one person in a team, a family, a community takes ownership, others rise too. But when nobody takes responsibility, everything falls apart. And that's why it always has to start with you, not your neighbor, not your coworker, not your friend, you. Here, because if you don't, who will? And if you don't do it now, when will it happen? Responsibility is about facing reality. It's about looking in the mirror and admitting that where you are today is a result of choices you've made, actions you've taken, or actions you've avoided. And that's not easy to swallow, but it's necessary. Because when you admit it, you realize that if your choices got you here, then new choices can get you somewhere better. That's empowering. That's the moment everything shifts. But if you keep saying, here, it's not my fault, you never get to that point, you never change, because you've convinced yourself you don't have the power to. But you do. You always do. Right here, responsibility is the reminder of that power at the end of the day. Responsibility is what separates the talkers from the doers, the dreamers from the achievers, the victims from the victors. And the best part, right here, responsibility doesn't cost anything. It doesn't require permission. It doesn't depend on anyone else. It's a choice you can make right now, in this very moment, to say, I'm taking charge of my life. Right here, I'm not waiting. I'm not blaming. I'm not passing it off. It's on me. That's the first step. And once you take it, you'll never see life the same way again. Delay kills more dreams than failure ever will. And right here, most people are not defeated because they tried and lost. They're defeated because they never even tried. They keep waiting, hesitating, holding back, telling themselves the time isn't right, the conditions aren't perfect. Here, the resources aren't enough. They convince themselves that tomorrow will somehow be better, that one day they'll be ready, that one day they'll finally take the leap. Right here. But here's the truth. Tomorrow never comes for people who live in delay. Tomorrow becomes next week becomes next year, and before they know it, their dream has turned into regret. Delay doesn't just waste time. Right here, it steals momentum, it robs opportunity, it drains energy, and it slowly convinces you that what you wanted was never possible in the first place. Failure at least teaches you something. Failure at least gives you feedback. Failure at least shows you where to improve. But delay leaves you empty-handed with nothing to build on. You can recover from a failure, you can grow from a setback, you can rise from a mistake right here, but you can't recover from time wasted. You can't get back the days, months, or years you spent waiting for the perfect moment. The graveyards are full of dreams that never got the chance to be tested right here, not because they weren't good enough, not because people weren't capable enough, but because they were delayed until there was no time left. That's the harsh reality. People don't run out of potential right here. They run out of time because they chose delay over action. When you think about it, failure is a sign that you had the courage to step out, that you were bold enough to take a shot right here, that you were willing to risk something for the sake of growth. But delay is disguised comfort. Delay tricks you into feeling safe, because as long as you don't act, you don't risk losing. As long as you don't start, here, you can keep telling yourself the dream is alive, but that safety is a lie. The longer you delay, the weaker your belief becomes, the heavier the weight of inaction grows. Here, the more excuses pile up until you're buried under them. People don't realize that delay is not passive, it's active destruction. Every time you delay, you're actively killing your own chances. Here, you're actively closing doors, you're actively training yourself to settle for less. Think about opportunities. They don't wait around forever. They have an expiration date. Right here, the door you see open today might be closed tomorrow. The person who could have helped you today may not be around next year. The market that is hungry for your idea right now might move on to the next thing. Here, delay makes you blind to that reality. You think you've got time, but time is the one thing you never really have control over. You can't slow it down, you can't rewind it, and you can't store it for later. Right here, you either use it or lose it, and when you lose it, it's gone for good. That's why delay is more dangerous than failure. It costs you what you can never replace. People think failure hurts, and yes, it does. But regret, right here, regret burns deeper. Regret is the pain of knowing you could have, you should have, but you didn't. Regret is waking up 10 years later and realizing you never wrote the book, never launched the business, never took the chance, never told them how you felt, never pushed yourself when you had the energy. Regret is carrying around a dream that you never gave a heartbeat to. And the root of regret isn't failure, it's delay. Right here, it's all the little postponements, all the, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll start when I'm ready, I'll wait for the right time. But that there is no right time. The right time is always now, right? Because now is all you've got. The reason people delay is fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of stepping into the unknown. They tell themselves they're preparing, but deep down they're avoiding. Right here. They think preparation without execution makes them safe, but preparation without action is just another form of delay. You'll never know enough. You'll never feel ready enough. Here, you'll never have all the pieces lined up perfectly. If you wait for perfect, you'll wait forever. The ones who make it are the ones who start before they feel ready, who move while everyone else is waiting, right here, who trust themselves to figure it out along the way. And that's the difference. You either act and learn, or you delay and lose. Failure as a teacher. Delay is a thief. Failure pushes you forward, delay holds you back. Right here, failure sharpens your skills, delay dulls your ambition. Failure fuels hunger, delay feeds doubt. And the crazy thing is, people fear failure so much that they embrace delay without realizing delay is the real enemy. You can fail 10 times and still succeed on the 11th. But if you delay 10 times, you never even get the chance to try once. Delay kills your shot before it even leaves your hands. Right here, it's like standing at the free throw line but never taking the shot because you're too worried about missing. Meanwhile, the game clock is ticking, and when the buzzer sounds, you've lost. Not because you missed, right here, because you never tried. Every person who has ever achieved anything had to fight delay. They had to silence that voice in their head that said, wait, you're not ready, it's too risky. Right here, what if it doesn't work? They had to push through hesitation and take action anyway. That's how businesses are built. That's how books are written. That's how bodies are transformed. That's how champions are made. They don't wait for the stars to align. They don't wait for every condition to be favorable. They move now, they act now, they take responsibility now. And because of that, they fail faster, they learn faster. Right here, they grow faster and eventually they win. Here's something most people miss. Delay doesn't just waste time, it weakens belief. Every time you delay, you send yourself a message, I'm not ready, I can't do it yet. Right here, I need to wait. And that message becomes your truth. You start to believe it. You start to see yourself as someone who isn't capable, someone who always waits, someone who can't move without permission. Here, delay turns into doubt, and doubt turns into paralysis. That's why people get stuck for years. It's not that they don't have the talent or the vision. It's that delay has convinced them they don't have what it takes. The longer you wait, the harder it becomes to start. Delay grows roots, and those roots become chains that hold you back. The only way to break them is to act, even if it's messy, even if it's uncertain, even breaks chains. Small action breaks chains, delay tightens them. You've got to understand that time will pass either way. Whether you act or you delay, the days will still turn into weeks, the weeks into months. Right here, the months into years. The question is, when that time passes, what will you have to show for it? If you act, you might have failures, but you'll also have lessons, experiences, progress, growth, maybe even victories. If you delay, all you have is the same excuses and the same regret, except now you're older, you've got less energy, and the window is smaller. Right here. And that's what makes delay so deadly. It disguises itself as harmless waiting, but really, it's silently stealing your future. You don't notice it at first. You think you're fine, but by the time you wake up, right here, years have been lost, and your dream has slipped further and further out of reach. Think of the people who made history. They weren't perfect. They didn't have all the answers. They didn't wait for approval. They acted right here, and because they acted, they changed the game. They were willing to fail, and many of them did over and over again, but their failures built stepping stones. Delay would have built nothing. Right here, delay would have erased them from history. The only reason we know their names is because they started when others hesitated. They moved when others waited. They risked when others delayed. Right here, that's the truth about success. It doesn't belong to the smartest. It doesn't belong to the luckiest. It doesn't even belong to the most talented. It belongs to the bold. Right here, and boldness is simply the refusal to delay. Delay feels easier in the moment, but it costs more in the long run. It costs your potential, it costs your confidence, it costs your time, and it costs your dream. Right here, failure feels harder in the moment, but it pays off in the long run. It pays off with wisdom. It pays off with growth. It pays off with strength. It pays off with resilience. If you had to choose, right here, wouldn't you rather pay the price of failure than the price of delay? Because one moves you forward and the other keeps you stuck forever. One leaves you with scars that make you stronger, right here, and the other leaves you with regrets that never heal. Delay is invisible failure. It's failure disguised as waiting. And that's why it's more dangerous than failure itself. So when you feel yourself hesitating, when you feel yourself making excuses, when you catch yourself saying, I'll start tomorrow, remind yourself that delay is the enemy. Remind yourself that every minute you wait, your dream is slipping further away. Right here, remind yourself that failure is not final, but delay might be. Remind yourself that it's better to start imperfectly than to never start at all. And remind yourself that the pain of discipline is temporary, but the pain of regret lasts a lifetime. Courage is choosing action when fear says wait. Fear is the strongest wall most people never climb over. It whispers in your ear, telling you to slow down, to back off, hey, to wait for a safer time. It convinces you that danger is around every corner, that you'll embarrass yourself, that people will laugh, that you'll fail, that you'll lose everything if you take the next step. Right here, and for most people, fear wins, not because they don't have the ability, not because they don't have the vision, but because they let fear dictate the pace of their life. They let fear put them on pause. Here, but courage is different. Courage isn't about not feeling fear. It's about hearing fear and moving anyway. It's about looking fear in the face and saying, right here, you don't get to decide for me. Courage is action in the middle of trembling hands, pounding hearts, and uncertain futures. Here, courage is the decision to step forward even when everything inside you screams to step back. Fear tells you to wait for the perfect moment. But courage says there is no perfect moment, only this one. Fear tells you to prepare forever, but courage says you'll figure it out along the way. Fear tells you to stay small, but courage says growth only comes when you expand beyond your comfort zone. Fear says protect yourself. Here, don't risk it, stay where it's safe. Courage says the greatest danger is not trying at all. The greatest loss is staying the same. The greatest risk is a life unlived. People think courage is loud and fearless, but in reality, courage is often quiet, shaky, uncertain, but still moving. It's not about erasing fear. It's about refusing to bow to it. The reason courage matters so much is because fear never goes away. Here, no matter how strong you get, no matter how much experience you gain, fear will always show up. When you level up, fear levels up too. When you go after something bigger, fear whispers louder. Right here, the only way to win isn't by eliminating fear, but by choosing courage over and over again. That's why the people you admire, the people you call brave, the people you see as fearless, they're not fearless. Okay, they feel fear just like you. The difference is they didn't let fear paralyze them. They acted anyway. They stepped on the stage anyway. They launched the business anyway. They asked the question anyway. Right here, they made the move anyway. And because of that, they discover that fear loses its grip the moment you move against it. Action shrinks fear. Inaction feeds it. Every dream you've ever had will require courage. Right here, there will never be a version of your dream that doesn't demand you to face fear, whether it's fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of criticism, fear of loss, fear of the unknown. It doesn't matter. Here, courage is the price of entry for everything meaningful. And here's the truth, most people never pay that price. They want the dream, but they don't want to face the fear attached to it. They let fear convince them to wait. Here, to think about it, to play it safe, to watch others instead of stepping up themselves. And years later, they look back and realize they let fear steal their life. They let fear keep them in a cage that was never locked. Right here, that's what fear does. It tricks you into staying inside a prison with the door wide open. Courage is walking out anyway. Even when your legs shake, fear is natural, but so is courage. You were built with both. Fear is there to protect you, but courage is there to push you. Fear shows you the edge, but courage takes you beyond it. Fear reminds you of danger, but courage reminds you of possibility. Fear will always say, don't go. Courage will always whisper, go anyway. The question is, which voice will you listen to? Because the one you obey shapes your life. If you always obey fear, your life will shrink smaller and smaller. If you choose courage, your life expands bigger and bigger. Fear contracts, courage expands. Fear makes you hide, courage makes you shine. Fear keeps you stuck, courage makes you free. Think about the moments in your life when you felt truly alive, the moments you were proud of, the moments you remember with fire in your heart. Were they born from fear or were they born from courage? Right here, it wasn't the times you stayed safe, the times you avoided risk, the times you said maybe later. It was the times you jumped, the times you spoke up, the times you risked rejection. Here, the times you acted when fear told you not to. Those are the moments that define you. Those are the moments you carry forever. And the only way to have more of them is to keep choosing courage. Because courage creates life. Right here, fear only delays if fear is persuasive. It will give you every excuse. It will sound logical. It will tell you to wait until you have more money, more time, more experience, more support. Right here, it will convince you that you'll be ready someday. But courage knows better. Courage knows that someday is a trap. Someday is just another word for never. Courage doesn't wait until you feel ready. Right here, because courage understands that readiness comes from doing, not from waiting. You get ready by acting. You grow courage by using it. Just like muscles, courage only develops when it's exercised. Every time you choose courage, right here, you get stronger. Every time you act in spite of fear, the next act becomes easier. And eventually, what once terrified you becomes normal. And then you face the next level of fear with the same courage you built. That's how growth works. You don't wait to be fearless. You act scared and let courage catch up. Some people think courage is reckless, but it's not. Recklessness ignores fear. Courage acknowledges fear, but chooses action anyway. Recklessness jumps without thought. Courage jumps with awareness, but also with determination. Courage is not about throwing yourself blindly into situations. It's about knowing the risk, feeling the fear, but realizing the reward of inaction is worse than the risk of action. Courage is calculated right here, but it refuses to be paralyzed. That's why courageous people are not the ones without fear, but the ones who value growth more than comfort, the ones who value progress more than protection. Right here, the ones who value purpose more than safety. Courage is prioritizing your future self over your present fear. The truth is, fear will always exaggerate. Fear tells you the failure will destroy you. Here, but courage proves failure will shape you. Fear tells you rejection will crush you, but courage proves rejection won't kill you. Fear tells you you're not ready right here, but courage proves you'll never be more ready than you are right now. Fear tells you the unknown is too dangerous, but courage proves the unknown is where all possibility lies. Every lie fear tells you can only be disproved by action. If you keep waiting, fear's lies become louder. If you move, fear's lies are exposed. That's why the cure for fear is always action. Not thinking, not planning, and not waiting action. Even small action, even messy action. Action dismantles fear brick by brick. Courage doesn't guarantee success, but it guarantees progress. Fear guarantees nothing but stagnation. Here, you might act with courage and fall, but you'll fall forward, you'll fall with knowledge, you'll fall with experience, you'll fall closer to your goal. If you listen to fear and wait, you don't move at all. Right here, you stay in the same place, trapped by the same doubts, haunted by the same what-ifs. That's why courage is the path and fear is the cage. Every step of courage, no matter how small, is a step toward freedom. Every step of fear, no matter how justified it feels, is a step toward regret. And if you stack enough steps of courage, you build a life that fear can't touch. Courage also inspires. When you act in spite of fear, right here, you give permission to others to do the same. You don't even realize how many people are watching you, how many people are silently influenced by your choices. Your courage becomes a spark that lights someone else's courage. Fear dictates your life. You also spread that. Fear is contagious, but so is courage. Imagine being the reason someone else chose to act, someone else chose to try, someone else chose to fight for their dream. Here, all because you showed them what courage looks like. That's legacy. That's impact. That's how courage multiplies beyond your own life. At the end of the day, courage isn't a one-time thing. It's a daily choice. Every day, fear will present itself in different forms. Sometimes it's loud, sometimes it's subtle. Sometimes it tells you to run, sometimes it tells you to wait. But courage is a muscle you flex every day, right here. And the more you flex it, the stronger it gets. You don't need to be fearless. You just need to act one more time, and fear stops you. If fear stops you 99 times, and you act once, that one act can change your life. Right here, that one act can be the breakthrough, the turning point, the door opener. Courage doesn't need to win every battle. It just needs to win the right one, right here. And the right one is always the one you're facing now. Your future is created by today's urgency. Not tomorrow's effort, not next week's motivation, not some day's dream, but today's urgency. Right here, every single thing you will become, every level you will reach, every result you will have starts right here in the way you choose to use this very moment. Too many people walk around acting like they got forever, right here, like time will wait for them, like opportunities will pause until they're ready. They move slow, they take their time, they put off the hard work. They let distractions eat their hours, they tell themselves there's no rush, right here. But there is always a rush, because life is moving, time is moving, the world is moving, and while you delay, someone else is working with urgency, someone else is pushing forward here, someone else is building the future. You're still only talking about urgency. Is not panic, it's power. It's the decision to treat every day like it matters, because it does. It's the mindset that says, I can't afford to waste today, because today is the seed of tomorrow. You don't reap harvest from dreams you planted in your mind. You reap harvest from seeds you actually put in the ground, watered and nurtured. Is what makes you plant them now instead of someday. Urgency is what stops you from saying later and makes you say now. Urgency is what makes you wake up earlier, stay up later, push harder, right here, and squeeze everything you can out of the time you've been given. Without urgency, you drift. With urgency, you drive, right here. And the difference between drifting and driving is the difference between a life of regret and a life of results. Your future is not an accident, it's a construction project. And urgency is the builder. Right here, every brick you lay today, every rep you put today, every hour you invest today is shaping that future. People think the big wins just show up one day, like success comes out of nowhere. No. Here, success is the accumulation of daily urgency. Success is built in the quiet, consistent, urgent work that nobody sees, while everyone else is wasting time. Every choice is a brick. Every action is a nail. Right here, every sacrifice is cement. And when you live with urgency, you stack those bricks fast. You build momentum, and before you know it, you've created something solid. But when you live without urgency, your building site stays empty, your dreams remain drawings on paper, and the future you want to never arrives. The reason urgency matters is because time is the most ruthless opponent you'll ever face. You can't beat it here. You can't slow it, you can't pause it, but you can use it. And how you use it determines whether time becomes your ally or your enemy. People lose the time not because they didn't have enough of it here, but because they didn't use the time they had with urgency. They thought there would always be more. They thought they could start tomorrow. They thought opportunity would wait for them. Right here. But time doesn't care about your excuses, and neither does the future. The future is built only by those who respect time enough to move now, to act now, to do it now. Every minute wasted today is a debt you'll pay tomorrow, right here. And some debts you can never pay back. Think about this right now. There's someone out there with the same dream as you, the same vision as you, maybe even less talent than you, right here. But the difference is they're moving with urgency. While you're waiting, they're working. While you're hesitating, they're hustling. While you're putting it off, they're putting it in. And 5 years from now, here, you're living the life you wanted, achieving the goals you talked about, and you'll realize the only difference wasn't ability, it was urgency. That's why urgency is the ultimate separator. Talent is everywhere, ideas are everywhere, dreams are everywhere, but urgency is rare. And urgency is what turns potential into reality. Urgency doesn't mean you don't rest. It doesn't mean you burn yourself out, right here. But it does mean you stop wasting. It means you treat every day like a gift, because that's what it is. It means you don't let distractions rob you. You don't let laziness control you. You don't let procrastination trick you into believing you've got more time. Urgency is discipline. Urgency is focus. Urgency is respect for your own future. Here, people who live without urgency don't respect themselves enough to move. They live like time is infinite, like opportunities are infinite, like life is guaranteed. But those who live with urgency know better. Right here, they know tomorrow isn't promised. They know opportunities don't wait. They know the clock is ticking, and that ticking isn't background noise, it's a countdown. Every day you waste is a day closer to running out. Hey, we can do something right here. That's not meant to scare you, that's meant to wake you up. Because when you live with urgency, you realize the real fear isn't failing, it's wasting. Your future self is watching you right now. 10 years from now, right here, 20 years from now, you will look back at today and either thank yourself or curse yourself. You'll either say, thank God I moved with urgency, I pushed when it was hard, I didn't waste my time. Or you'll say, here, why didn't I start? Why didn't I take it seriously? Why did I waste so much time on things that didn't matter? And that moment will either fill you with pride or regret. Right here, urgency is how you guarantee you'll be proud. Urgency is how you make sure your future self has something to celebrate instead of something to mourn. The beautiful thing is, the future isn't written yet. Here, you're writing it now in the urgency you bring to today. People love to say they're waiting for motivation, waiting for inspiration, waiting for the right season. But urgency doesn't wait for feelings. Urgency doesn't need motivation. Urgency says, I'm doing it whether I feel like it or not. Stay right here, because the clock doesn't care about my feelings. Urgency turns, I'll do it later, into I'll do it now. Urgency turns I'm tired, into I've still got work to do. Urgency turns I don't know how, into I'll figure it out. Urgency doesn't make excuses. Right here makes progress, and that progress compounds, that progress builds confidence, that progress creates momentum, and once momentum takes over, it becomes hard to stop you. Urgency is the spark that lights the fire, and once the fire is burning, it fuels everything else. Think of every champion you've ever admired. They didn't just have skill. They had urgency. They trained when others rested. They worked when others waited. Here, they moved when others hesitated. They knew that every day mattered, and they treated it that way. Urgency is why they're remembered and others are forgotten. Right here, urgency is why their names are etched in history while others fade into the background. They didn't live like they had time to waste. They lived like they had to move now because tomorrow was not guaranteed. Yeah, that's the mindset you need if you want to build a future worth living. Not panic, not desperation, but urgency. A calm, focused, relentless urgency that says, hey, today matters too much to waste. Urgency also changes the way you handle opportunities. Without urgency, opportunities look ordinary and you miss them. With urgency, here you see them for what they are, life-changing moments disguised as small chances. The meeting, the conversation, the project, the idea. It could be the thing that changes everything right here, but you only recognize it if you're living with urgency. That's why people who live with urgency seem to get lucky more often. It's not luck. It's preparation meeting opportunity, and urgency makes you prepared. Urgency keeps you sharp. Urgency makes sure when the door cracks open, you're ready to walk through it. Without urgency, the door opens, you hesitate. Right here, and it closes before you move. Urgency is also about respect for the people counting on you. Your family, your friends, your team, they all depend on the choices you make today. If you move with urgency, hey, you're not just building your future, you're impacting theirs. But if you waste time, if you delay, if you live without urgency, you're not just robbing yourself, you're robbing them too. Here, every decision you make ripples outward, and urgency is how you make sure those ripples create something good, something lasting, something powerful. Living with urgency isn't selfish, it's responsible, right here, because when you maximize your time, when you build your future, when you rise to your potential, you lift everyone connected to you. Right here, your urgency is not just for you, it's for everyone your life will touch. When you wake up with urgency, you live differently. You don't snooze, you don't drift, you move, you act, you chase. Here, you understand that this day will never come back, so you squeeze it for everything it's worth. That's what urgency feels like, a fire in your chest that refuses to let you waste what you've been given right here. And that fire doesn't just create results, it creates fulfillment. Because deep down, we all know when we're wasting our lives. We all know when we're living beneath our potential. Right here, yeah, that's why procrastination feels so heavy, why laziness feels so empty. But when you live with urgency, you feel alive, you feel purposeful, you feel connected to something greater than yourself. Right here, urgency isn't just about what you achieve, it's about how you live. It's about refusing to drift through life half asleep and choosing instead to live fully awake, fully alive. Right here, fully present, winners act while others keep waiting for the right time. That's the difference. That's the separator. That's the truth most people don't want to face. Everyone has dreams. Everyone has goals. Right here, everyone has ideas, but not everyone has the courage to act on them. Most people will sit and wait. They'll wait for a sign. They'll wait for perfect conditions. They'll wait until they feel ready. Right here, they'll wait until fear is gone. They'll wait until life feels comfortable. But the problem is, the right time never comes. There will always be fear. There will always be obstacles. There will always be something missing. There will always be a reason to wait. Winners understand this, and that's why they act. They act while others are hesitating. They act while others are doubting. They act while others are making excuses. Here, winners don't wait for the perfect time. They make the time they have perfect by what they do with it. Think about how many people have said, one day I'll start, one day I'll go after it. Right here, one day I'll chase the dream. That one day never comes because they never move. They keep pushing it in the future, hoping that someday things will magically align. Right here. But winners know that alignment isn't something you wait for. It's something you create. You create alignment through action, through motion, through doing. Waiting is passive. Acting is powerful. Here, waiting keeps you in the same place. Acting moves you forward. Waiting hands control the circumstances. Acting takes control back. That's why winners don't wait. They act right here because they know waiting is the surest way to lose. At the right time is a myth. There will never be a moment where everything feels perfect, where the fear disappears, where the obstacles vanish, where the road is clear. Right here, life doesn't work like that. Life will always throw challenges in front of you. Life will always make things uncertain. Life will always test you. If you wait for the perfect time, you'll spend your whole life waiting. Here, winners know that the right time is the moment they decide to move. That's it. The moment they take the first step, the moment they start building, the moment they commit, that becomes the right time. Right here, they don't wait for conditions to change. They change themselves and act in spite of the conditions. That's the mentality that separates them when others are sitting around thinking, planning, analyzing, and overanalyzing. Right here, winners are moving. They're taking risks. They're learning on the fly. They're failing forward. They're figuring things out in real time. They understand that action brings clarity. Right here, while waiting brings nothing but more doubt. You can think about swimming all day long, but you'll never learn until you get in the water. You can read about lifting weights. You can watch videos. You can study programs, right? But you won't get strong until you actually hit the gym and do the work. Winners know that the only way to grow is to act, and that waiting is just another form of fear dressed up as logic. Right here, they don't let fear disguise itself as preparation. They don't let excuses disguise themselves as strategy. They know the difference, and the difference is motion. Winners also know that opportunities don't last forever. Right here, doors open and close, windows of time appear and disappear. Waiting can cost you the very chance you need to change your life. The job you wanted might not be available later. Right here, the market you could have dominated might not exist tomorrow. The connection you could have made might move on. If you hesitate, winners act because they understand that timing isn't about waiting, it's about seizing. Right here, they don't let the fear of the imperfection stop them from grabbing the opportunity in front of them. They rather act and adjust than wait and regret. They'd rather fail trying than fail waiting. Because the truth is, here, waiting is failure in slow motion. At least when you act, you give yourself a shot. At least when you act, you put yourself in the game. Waiting keeps you on the sidelines forever. Think about every champion you admire. They didn't get there by waiting. They didn't wait for a coach to beg them to work hard. They didn't wait for motivation to magically strike. They didn't wait for life to hand them the perfect moment. Here, they acted when others were hesitating. They trained when others were sleeping. They practiced when others were partying. They sacrificed when others were comfortable. They acted again and again. And that consistent action stacked up into greatness. That's why winners rise to the top. They move while everyone else is stuck waiting. They create momentum, and momentum is power. Once you have momentum, right here, it's hard to stop you, but you can't build momentum if you never start. That's why winners are always in motion. Winners understand something that most people ignore: time. Time is the most valuable resource you have. Right here, you can always make more money, but you can't make more time. Every day you waste waiting is a day you'll never get back. Every day you hesitate is a day that slips away forever. Through right here, winners don't let time slip through their fingers. They treat every day like it matters, because it does. They know their future is built on today's urgency, today's choices, today's actions. Right here, they don't think they have forever. They know the clock is ticking. That awareness fuels them, it pushes them. It drives them to move now instead of later. Right here, they don't want to meet the version of themselves who wasted time. They want to meet the version of themselves who acted and built something. People who wait always have excuses. They say, here, I'll start when I have more money. I'll start when I have more time. I'll start when I feel more confident. I'll start when I'm older. I'll start when I'm younger. Right here, I'll start when I have more support. Excuses never run out, and if you let them, they will keep you waiting your entire life. Winners don't deny the excuses, they just refuse to obey them. Here, they know conditions will never be perfect, so they act anyway. They know fear will always be present, so they act anyway. They know they don't have all the answers, so they act anyway. That's what makes them winners. They don't let the excuses decide. They let their vision decide, their discipline decide, their commitment decide. And once they act, right here, they prove to themselves that the excuse relies all along. Action doesn't just build results, it builds identity. Every time you act, you tell yourself, I'm the kind of person who moves. Right here, I'm the kind of person who takes steps. I'm the kind of person who does. That identity gets stronger every time you choose action over waiting. Waiting builds the opposite identity. Every time you wait, you tell yourself, right here, I'm the kind of person who hesitates. I'm the kind of person who avoids risk. I'm the kind of person who lets fear decide. Over time, that identity traps you. Here, winners break out of that trap because they choose action, and action builds confidence. Even if they fail, they gain confidence because they tried. Even if they stumble, they gain strength because they move. Right? Waiting never gives you that. Waiting only gives you more reasons to doubt yourself. Action proves to you that you're capable. Right here, and that proof compounds until you become unstoppable. Winners also know that acting fast doesn't mean acting sloppy. It means acting with intent, acting with clarity, acting with urgency. Here, it means they don't wait for permission, but they also don't act blindly. They act decisively, and then they learn, adjust, and improve. That's the formula. Act, learn, refine, repeat. Right here, winners move through that cycle faster because they don't waste time waiting. That's why they grow faster, why they succeed sooner, why they get further than others. While most people are still on step 0, waiting for the perfect start, winners are already on step 5, step 10, step 50 because they acted and learned along the way. You can't learn by waiting. You can only learn by doing. Winners know this right here, and that's why they're willing to start messy. They know messy progress beats perfect procrastination every time. The truth is, waiting feels safe, but it's an illusion. The longer you wait, the harder it gets to move. Right here, the more you hesitate, the more fear grows. The more you put it off, the heavier the weight becomes. Waiting doesn't protect you, it traps you. Action doesn't guarantee success, but it guarantees movement. Right here, it guarantees growth. It guarantees that you're not stuck. Winners are willing to deal with the discomfort of moving forward because they know the pain of regret is far worse than the pain of effort. Here, they know that failing while acting is honorable, but failing because of waiting is unforgivable. That's why they choose to move. That's why they refuse to wait for the right time. Here, they know the right time is always now, and here's the thing. When you act, you create your own right time. You create opportunities, you create conditions, you create momentum. Waiting leaves you powerless, right here, but acting makes you powerful. Winners don't wait for things to get easier, they get stronger. They don't wait for fear to leave, they move through it. They don't wait for opportunity to knock, they build their own door. Here, they don't wait for the world to give them permission, they give themselves permission. Winners act while others wait, and that's why winners live the life others only dream about.